welcome to your deep dive. This time, we're looking at reflection before personal development.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's a blog post from the Multicultural Counseling Service website.
Hmm.
It's, more than just a typical self-help thing. It's like a window into this person's journey, their personal growth.
Right, right. It's powerful to see someone actually lay their self-reflection out there like that.
Totally. And they start with this set of questions, almost like setting their intentions. They're asking things like, who am I today? Who do I want to be in the future?
I like that.
How can personal development help me deal with other people? And even who's responsible for me right here,
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah.
I mean, these are deep.
Oh, yeah, they're really getting at self-awareness and being intentional. Not just dabbling, but really diving in.
Exactly. And they're super honest about their obstacles. Like, learning is tough for them because English is their second language.
Wow.
Can you imagine hitting that wall every time you try to learn something new?
Yeah, it's a challenge so many people face, but, we don't always talk about how hard it is emotionally.
For sure. Like feeling inadequate, wanting to give up.
Absolutely, those are real struggles. But
Yeah.
this person, they didn't give in. They used those feelings to push themselves forward.
And that's what's inspiring. On top of the language thing, they're working full-time, studying, barely sleeping, anxious. It's like a recipe for burnout.
Oh, it's so relatable. So many people feel pulled in every direction, trying to, balance their life with personal growth.
Yeah. But this person, they took action. They didn't just get overwhelmed.
That's what makes their story so powerful. They found a way to make it work.
Okay, get ready for this list of strategies. This is where it gets good. First, a regular sleep routine. I mean, we all know sleep is important.
For sure.
But they made it like the cornerstone of everything.
It's brilliant, right? Sleep deprivation affects everything. Mood, energy, focus.
Decisions.
Yeah, everything. So by focusing on sleep, they set themselves up for success in everything else.
It's like they built a solid base to grow from. I've definitely been guilty of sacrificing sleep. But hearing this, how it helped their anxiety, makes me rethink things.
It's a reminder that self-care isn't selfish. It's essential.
Totally. And it's not just bubble baths. It's taking care of the basics. What lets us function.
Exactly.
And they didn't stop there. Dream analysis, journaling, poems, even drawing. It's like they used every creative outlet to explore their inner world.
That's key. Personal development isn't just books and seminars. It's about what works for you, connecting with yourself. For them, that meant getting creative.
And it sounds a lot more fun than just, meditating all day. Not that there's anything wrong with meditation.
Right, of course not.
But sometimes you need to shake things up a bit, express yourself.
Exactly. It's about finding joy in the process. Make it an adventure, not a chore.
And who knows what you'll find along the way, right? It makes me think of that quote, the unexamined life. Something.
Yeah.
The author really embraced that, using every tool to explore themselves.
And they built their own toolkit for growth. There's no one right way. It's about what resonates with you, adapting it to your own life.
And that's where it gets really interesting. They dedicated time for academic reading, practicing English. So committed to learning.
Yeah. Think about how frustrating that language barrier must have been. But they pushed through, found ways to improve.
It's like they turned that obstacle into an opportunity. Didn't accept their limitations.
So inspiring. That's a powerful message for anyone facing challenges.
Yeah, a real reminder that growth means pushing past your comfort zone, embracing challenges.
Totally.
And, of course, the final two pieces of their self-improvement puzzle.
Okay, let's hear it.
Therapy and meditation. They knew they needed both that external support and the internal work.
It's a holistic approach. Shows how dedicated they were, not just looking for quick fixes. Ready for the deep work.
And that's where it gets really interesting. We've seen the challenges, the strategies, their dedication. Now let's see how it all connects to the bigger picture of self-improvement.
Yeah.
What we can all learn from this person.
Okay, let's do it. What stands out to you?
It's how practical and self-reflective they were. It wasn't just go meditate. They explained how they fitted in with their life. Work, studies, it makes it feel doable,
Absolutely. It's got to be sustainable. They made personal development part of their everyday life. That's a huge lesson for us all.
Yeah, it's like they took those self-help ideas and made them work in their real life.
Totally. And it wasn't just about Like the practical stuff. Remember the journaling, the poems, the drawing.
Oh, right.
It's like self-discovery isn't always quiet, you know? Sometimes it's about expressing yourself.
You're so right. That creative side can be super therapeutic. It helps you get at those hidden emotions,
Cool
thoughts.
stuff below the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't just think your way to a solution. You got to feel it out. It's like giving your subconscious a way to speak, right?
Yeah,
And it can be fun, too.
absolutely.
We can get so serious about personal development, we forget to enjoy it.
You're telling me if it feels like a chore, who's going to stick with it?
No one. This
Did-
author, they showed us it's got to be enjoyable. It's
Yeah.
got to be like an exploration.
Exactly.
Okay, speaking of enjoyable, that sleep routine. Who doesn't love a good night's sleep?
Mm-mm.
But they actually connected it to their growth.
Yeah.
Said it helped with their anxiety, their biological clock.
That's interesting.
It's like they saw sleep as an investment.
It's amazing how much of an impact sleep has, right?
Yeah,
It affects mood, energy, focus,
decision making.
everything.
It's the foundation, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're not rested, everything else is harder.
It really is. And from a cognitive behavioral therapy perspective, that consistent routine helps regulate your circadian rhythm. So, you know, better mood, more energy, clearer thinking.
So it's not just feeling less tired. It's setting yourself up for success, period.
Exactly. That's what makes those practical strategies so powerful. It's
Yeah.
not about fixing problems after they happen. It's about creating an environment where you can thrive.
Proactive instead of reactive.
That's it.
And don't forget, they learned English, kept up with academic reading. They could have let that be a barrier, but they turned it into a strength.
It's their resilience that gets me. They didn't let the language stop them. They kept learning, kept growing.
A real growth mindset.
Yeah.
It reminds you, growth means pushing yourself, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable even.
Absolutely. And it shows how everything's connected, you know?
Right, right.
Like better language skills, helps with school, with your career, even socializing. It's like this domino effect of good stuff.
What really stood out to me was how they evaluated their decisions, the good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just going through the motions, you know. They were using every experience to, like, learn about themselves.
That's so important. It's not enough to just do things. You got to think about why you did them, what you learned, how to do better next time.
Like, they were constantly adjusting their internal compass, you know, using their experiences to navigate.
Exactly. And they weren't scared to look at their flaws. Actually, they wanted to understand them, accept them. That's self-compassion right there.
Oh, self-compassion. We hear it everywhere, but what does it actually mean?
It's simple, really. Treat yourself like you'd treat a friend. Imagine your friend's struggling. You wouldn't yell at them, right? You'd be supportive. Self-compassion is doing that for yourself.
So it's not letting yourself off easy or anything. It's about, like, seeing your imperfections and still believing in yourself.
Exactly. We're all works in progress. The author's journey shows that. They messed up, but they didn't beat themselves up. They chose compassion.
And it seems like that made a huge difference. Instead of getting stuck in that self-criticism loop, they could focus on growing.
And that brings us back to that powerful line. How you treat yourself is how you're inviting the world to treat you. Your inner world shapes your outer world, you know?
Right. It's like if you're always judging yourself, that's the energy you're putting out there. But if you can accept yourself,
That changes everything. You attract more acceptance, more compassion from others.
it's all connected, like that question from the beginning. How personal development helps you deal with people. The answer might be self-compassion.
I think you're right. Self-compassion builds that foundation for healthy relationships with yourself and others. More empathy, more understanding.
Oh, and remember, they wanted to start a blog, right? To help others with education and personal growth.
It's like they've come full circle. Started by asking those deep questions for themselves, now they want to help others do the same.
It's beautiful, really. Shows how personal growth can become something bigger. It inspires others.
It's paying it forward.
It reminds us that we're not alone in these challenges. We all struggle, we all doubt. But by sharing, by supporting each other.
We get stronger, more resilient.
Exactly. And that's what makes personal development so powerful. It's not just about you. It's about creating a better world for everyone.
Well said. Now, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on their experience with therapy? They seem to see it as a crucial part of their growth.
Therapy, yeah. It's like having a guide,
Yeah.
you know, to help you figure out all that complicated stuff inside.
Totally. Someone to give you insights, challenge you a bit,
Yeah.
and give you tools to overcome obstacles.
And it's not just about fixing problems, right?
Right.
It's about understanding who you really are
Right.
so you can live a more authentic, fulfilling life.
That's it. For the author, it seems like therapy helped them really accept themselves, be more compassionate towards themselves.
We tend to think of therapy as something you only do when things are really bad.
Yeah.
But maybe it should be more proactive, like to support your ongoing growth.
I like that idea. It's like we go to the gym for our physical health, right? Why not do something similar for our mental and emotional health?
Like having a personal trainer, but for your mind.
Exactly. It highlights how important it is to get support. You don't have to do it all alone.
Speaking of support, remember they had sleep issues and anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
And they said a regular sleep schedule really helped. What's the science behind that?
Well, sleep is how we regulate hormones, restore energy, repair our bodies. When we don't sleep enough, that stress hormone, cortisol, goes up.
So more anxiety, harder to cope?
Exactly. It's a vicious cycle, isn't it? Stress messes up your sleep. Lack of sleep makes you more stressed.
Makes sense.
That's why that regular routine is so important. It gets your circadian rhythm in sync.
That's that internal clock, right? The one that tells us when to sleep and wake up.
You got it. And when it's balanced, better sleep, better mood, less anxiety, like hitting reset on your whole system.
And that reset affects everything. Relationships, work, creativity.
It all starts with a good